The Black Death, a time of great suffering. The year is 1346. Imagine a time very different from our own. A time of kings and queens, knights and castles. This was the Middle Ages. This was a time when life could be difficult. Most people worked the land. They lived in simple homes. Life was hard, death was common, but nothing could prepare the world for what was to come. A terrible sickness began to spread. It started in the east. Soon it traveled across the land. This sickness was the Black Death. The Black Death was a plague like no other. It moved silently, carried on the backs of rats and fleas. It spread quickly. It was deadly. People lived in fear. They didn't understand the sickness. They had no cure. The Black Death killed millions. It changed the course of history. This is the story of how one village faced this terrifying enemy. Eyam, a village in the path of plague. Deep in the heart of England, nestled in a green valley, lay the village of Eyam. Life in Eyam was simple. Villagers worked hard. They farmed the land. They raised their families. They knew their neighbors. It was a peaceful life. But in the summer of 1665, the plague arrived in Eyam. It came in a bolt of cloth. This cloth carried fleas infected with the plague. A tailor's assistant unknowingly brought it to the village. Soon people started getting sick. They had fevers. They developed painful sores. Many died. Fear gripped the village. People were desperate. What could they do to survive? Isolation, a desperate strategy for survival. As the plague tightened its grip, the villagers of Eyam faced a terrifying choice. Flee and risk spreading the disease, or stay and face the invisible enemy within their walls. Led by their rector, William Mompesson, and their former rector, Thomas Stanley, they chose to stay. They chose to quarantine themselves. This was a decision born of profound sacrifice. They knew the risks. They understood that staying meant certain death for many. Yet they chose the good of others over their own survival. They chose to protect the surrounding villages. They chose to become a beacon of hope in a time of despair. The quarantine, living with death at the doorstep. Life in quarantine was harsh. The villagers lived in fear and uncertainty. They were cut off from the outside world. Supplies dwindled. The boundary stones, marking the safe distance for trade, became stark reminders of their isolation. Death became a constant companion. Families grieved loved ones. Children were orphaned. The plague spared no one. Yet, amidst the suffering, the spirit of Eyam endured. They found strength in their faith. They found solace in their community. They continued to fight for their lives and the lives of their loved ones.
Simple remedies. A glimmer of hope in a dark time. With no known cure for the plague, the villagers turned to what they had. They used what they knew. They employed traditional remedies. Herbs and flowers became their medicine. They used rudimentary forms of hygiene. They believed these practices could help. They washed themselves and their clothes. They burned their belongings. They knew that cleanliness was vital. They also turned to their faith. They prayed for deliverance. They believed that their faith would sustain them. While these remedies may seem simple today, they offered a glimmer of hope in a time of profound darkness.
The price of survival, loss and sacrifice in Eyam. The quarantine lasted 14 long months. During that time, the plague ravaged the village. Families were decimated. Parents lost children. Children lost parents. The village records tell heartbreaking stories of loss and grief. Out of a population of around 350, over 260 perished. The sacrifice made by the villagers of Eyam was immense. They gave their lives to save others. They knew the risks. They understood the consequences of their actions. Yet they chose to put the well-being of others before their own.
Beyond quarantine. Factors in Eyam's survival. While the quarantine played a crucial role in containing the plague, other factors contributed to the survival of Eyam. The village's isolation, while a curse in many ways, also limited the spread of the disease. The geography of the area, with its surrounding hills, may have also acted as a natural barrier. Furthermore, recent studies suggest that the strain of plague that struck Eyam may have been less virulent than initially thought. This, combined with the villagers' efforts to control the rat population, may have also played a part in their survival.
Echoes of Eyam lessons from a plague village. The story of Eyam is a powerful reminder of the devastating impact of infectious diseases. It is a testament to the human cost of such outbreaks, but it is also a story of courage, resilience, and the extraordinary power of community in the face of adversity. The villagers of Eyam teach us that even in the darkest of times, hope can endure. Their story reminds us of the importance of collective action, self-sacrifice, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It is a story that resonates through the centuries, offering valuable lessons for our own time. The enduring spirit of humanity, hope from the ashes. The plague eventually receded from Eyam. Life slowly returned to a semblance of normalcy. The village rebuilt. Generations passed, but the memory of the plague and the sacrifice of those who perished lived on. Eyam stands today as a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. It is a place where the past and present intertwine. Visitors from around the world come to pay their respects. They remember the victims. They honor their sacrifice. A new dawn, remembering Eyam, embracing the future. The story of Eyam is not just a tale of a bygone era. It is a story for our time. It reminds us that we are all connected. It teaches us that our actions have consequences. It shows us that even in the face of fear and uncertainty, we can choose compassion. We can choose courage. We can choose to face our challenges together. As we face our own challenges today, let us remember the lessons of Eyam. Let us remember the courage of a small village that stood against the odds. Let us honor their sacrifice by striving to build a better, healthier, and more compassionate world for ourselves and for generations to come.